back, YouTubers. I am Jason Wiersema. This is Tankers Fantasy Football. And before we get started, I would just like to show you guys some appreciation for last week's buy or sell video. Got up to 74 likes and 2,500 views. I set the bar. I tried to get it up to 50 likes. You guys went out there and absolutely just crushed it and got it up to the 74 likes. You know, I'm a pretty angry guy. Sometimes I like to let the hate flow through me, but man, those 74 likes and those 2,500 views had me on cloud nine this entire weekend. Nothing could touch me, nothing could get after me. I was just brushing off all the haters this weekend, and oh, I appreciate it so much, guys, and keep up the love. It is greatly appreciated here at Tankers Fantasy Football. Before we get started, you know how we do. Maybe you throw us a like, maybe you don't. Maybe you subscribe to the channel, maybe you don't. Maybe you go fuck yourself. Or we're going to read it with some buys or sells. We're going to start with some running backs here. We got Austin Ekeler. All the Austin Ekeler owners might think the honeymoon is over, but I mean, to be honest, I am a Melvin Gordon owner in the league, but Austin Ekeler just does look like the better running back at this stage of the season. I know no training camps are probably really dogging Melvin Gordon out there. Their offensive line isn't really doing much. They've lost their center, but I don't know. I just think moving forward, I think we're going to see more Austin Ekeler involved in the pass catching game, unlike last week, like the weeks before. So I think if you can go out there and get him on pennies on the dollar, I think that would be absolutely sexy deluxe, especially if you were in a keeper league, because Melvin Gordon is probably looking to be out of town next season. So getting on Austin Ekeler now in a keeper league would be a very sexy stash. All right, we got some Joe Mixon, and I mean, oh my God, Joe. What has happened, Joe? I mean, if we're going to talk about Joe Mixon, I think we got to dig the golden shovel up. Oh, Joe, what has happened to you? If you can get, I mean, if you can go out there and get a six-pack and a cheeseburger in a trade for Joe Mixon right now, I think I might take the offer. I mean, this has just been absolutely disgusting. Joe had 8 rushes for 10 yards. I mean, they got 5 knees out there blocking for him for the offensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, this is a DEFCON 5 situation. I just don't know. If you got any other options, I would look to bench Joe if you can't move him. All right, some Damien Williams. He went out there in week 5. He got 90% of the snaps and over 10% of the target share. But then last week, I mean, he gets in the end zone, but he's only out there, you know, he's only out there for like 20% of the snaps, and he's only got like 3% of the target share. He went out there and he only carried the ball for 11% of his team's rushing attempts last week. So all in, I mean, he was out there for more than 20% of the snaps, but he had only 11% of his team's rushing attempts last week and only 3% of the target share. So you can go out there, capitalize. I mean, he still did get in the end zone. If you can sell Damien Williams as an RB2 now, I would definitely look to get into doing that. You got Royce Freeman. I mean, this is kind of a guy you maybe want to have thrown into the deal, you know. He's gone out there. He looked fairly good this season. He's the running back 25 in PPR, and that is without finding the end zone yet this season. He's averaging 10.7 points a week. And I mean, if you can get him in, you know, get him as a throw-in in a deal, I would be all in on that, because you got the Chiefs, Colts, and Browns coming up, which are all bottom half versus the rush. So if you can go out there and get you some Royce Freeman as a throw-in in a deal, I would be very interested in that. We got some Devin Singletary. I know he was on the bye section last week, but he was on a bye week, so it's still kosher. You can go out there and buy him. And he's got the Redskins, the Browns, and the Dolphins twice coming up. So I mean, we are looking at all in sexy deluxe schedule for Devin Singletary moving forward in the second half of the season. So you can go out there and get him for pennies on the dollar. I would definitely explore that option. All right, we're going to move into some wide receivers. We got Hopkins. I mean, how low? I mean, this is just, I mean, 12 targets, and you only parlayed that into 9 catches for 55 yards. I mean, 55 yards on 12 targets are a bit gross, but I mean, the Texans are balling out still. Deshaun Watson does look like a top 3 quarterback in the league, hands down. He's seen 20% of his team's targets in every single game, and he has a 28% target share total, which is the 3rd best for wide receivers in the NFL. So, I mean, all in. This guy has to turn it around at some point. He only has 1 target inside the 10 as well, when he had 15 targets inside the 10 last year. I think those numbers got to go up. I know he dropped a touchdown for you last week, but I think all signs point to DeAndre Hopkins getting it absolutely sexy moving forward. So you can go in and get the owner that's kind of down in the dumps on him. I would go ahead and do that. I think we got to sell high on Stefon Diggs. I think now is the time to get it sexy. Now is the time to move on. I know that is a very hard thing to do after an incredible situation like he had last week with the 3 touchdowns, but now is the time if you're looking to get high-end wide receiver 2 return on Stefon Diggs. I would absolutely look to do so. All right, we got Michael Gallup. I think Michael Gallup is still a buy. I know Cooper won't probably miss any time, but I think that might be good for Gallup. You know, keep the coverage away from him. He has the Eagles this week, which we just saw Kirk Cousins and Stefon Diggs just absolutely destroy out there. He's had at least 7 targets in every game he's played, and he's tied for 2nd in fantasy point per snap that he's played thus far in the wide receiver category as well. So, I mean, all of a sudden, the arrow's still pointing up. It's coming out the 4 for 48. Had like the 3 egregious drops. I was watching the game as well. I got Michael Gallup on my team. Those drops were absolutely killers out there, but I think moving forward, we are looking at a very strong flex play in Michael Gallup. So if you got the owner that's, you know, you thought he had something special, but now maybe not so much, maybe you can go out there and you can get him on the cheap. Or we got some John Brown. He averaged 11.3 PPR points these last 3 weeks. He's only got 1 touchdown on his 39 targets thus far this season, but his schedule is sexy. But his schedule does get sexy deluxe out there. He's got, like we said earlier, with the Devin Singletary, he's got two games coming up versus the Finns, and along with the Eagles, Browns, and Redskins. We didn't include Eagles on the Devin Singletary talk because Eagles are very tough against the run, but they just vomit it up versus the pass. So that's why we included them on the John Brown situation. I think we got also another sell, Scary Terry or F1 or whatever you want to call him. He is on pace for 16 touchdowns. Do you think a guy like Case Keenum's going to have a wide receiver on his team that catches 16 touchdowns? Because I fucking don't. And I think, you know, he's got these tough as nails matchups coming up. He's got the Niners, he's got the Vikings, and he goes on the road to Buffalo, who is like one of the top 3 pass defenses in the league. I think now is the time. I mean, you can probably almost get, back in wide receiver 1. Love for this guy right now. He's absolutely ripping it up out there. And if you can turn what he's done into a superstar, I would absolutely, that doesn't play for the Redskins, I would absolutely look to do so. I think we got another sell here with Calvin Ridley. He scored these last 2 games, and that's what's keeping it sexy for you. That's what's keeping it going. That's what's going to allow you to sell him. He scored in these last 2 contests, but, you know, coming out those 2 stinkers before those games. I mean, if you look at it, he's only averaging 5.5 targets in these last 3 games and 3.3 receptions. In these last 4 games, he's only averaging 5.5 targets and 3.3 receptions in these last 4 games. He has 38 targets on the season thus far. But you look, that doesn't sound that bad. But that's 4th on his team. He's behind Julio Jones at 53. The amazing Austin Hooper has 50. And then the likes of Sanu has 40. So he's 4th in targets on his team. If you can turn Calvin Ridley into a more solid wide receiver 2 that you can depend on week in and week out, I would probably look to do so. All right, we got another buy here. We got some DJ Chark coming off the 3 touchdowns. I know football's a weird animal out there. He's had 3 touchdowns week 5, but now, you know, it's kind of a, what have you done for me lately? He had Lattimore shutting down the world. He only had, 4 catches or 3 catches for 43 yards at the 7.3 PPR points, but he does have the Bengals in a get it right, get it tight matchup this week. So if you can go out there and get DJ Chark, I would absolutely explore that option. All right, we got some 1 quarterback I think you should go ahead and buy. We got some Josh Allen. Like I said with those other 2 Buffalo Bills guys, the schedules coming up are absolutely sexy deluxe. He had a 52% completion percentage last year. He's up that 10% to 62. So he is getting better, unlike our boy in Chicago, Mitchell Trubisky, who is regressing instead of progressing. But Josh Allen seems to be progressing out there. And 4 of his next 5 games, like we said, man, they're against the Finns, Double Time, the Browns, Redskins, and Eagles. All in. Sexy Deluxe matchup. Doesn't get much more tasty than that. So if you can get some Josh Allen, I mean, you know, those quarterbacks are, you know, kind of hard to come by out there. You know, you got your Russell Wilsons, you got your Deshaun Watsons, you got your Pat Mahomes, and, you know, you used to have your Dak Prescotts, but he's kind of fallen off the shelf as of late. So, you know, top 5 still a little bit murky after you get past those 3 dudes. So I don't know. I mean, Josh Allen, I think he's like a quarterback 13 right now, but this schedule, he could finish easily top 8 in those weeks scored with this sexy deluxe schedule in front of him. All right, you like the cut of my jib? Give us a like, give us a share, put all your comments, all your trade comments, all your trade questions, I mean, all your who do I start questions, maybe even if your waivers haven't run yet, put those down in the comment section as well. I will get back to you. I always do. And if you are in the area, we are taking the hog. You question me, what's the hog? Where you go to the page, you see our YouTube banner up top that we just got up there looking sexy deluxe. That RV sitting on either side of this sexy logo right here is the hog. And we are taking the hog up to week 7 versus the Saints. So if anybody in the area, in the Quad City area, if you are interested, we got 1 or 2 spots left, 1 or 2 seats left inside the hog. I would love to party with you guys, so holler at me. You can get it dirty with me and the boys.
I'm hot as fuck, bitch.